as we've by now heard, Quentin Tarantino, uh, his his period piece, I'm gonna call it. He decided to go with Sony, which surprised me. I kind of thought that maybe he would go with Warner Brothers after I heard the treatment when they rolled out the red carpet and basically set up, they did a grand presentation with period piece cars and things that were back in the that time of what was it, the 60s 70s, late 60s 70s for Manson, all that stupid shit, crazy shit that happened. Yeah, they rolled out the red carpet, and I thought that, all right, they're really going in. But he decided to go with Sony, and apparently they have already had a past relationship. I'm not sure which film it was, but regardless of that, it actually surprised me because I explained to you guys that Sony is in debt. And after the Emoji film, they were kind of screwed. So I guess, they must have gotten, a loan or whatever. But I don't think that this was the smartest move for them to take the Tarantino brand on. I know that, we all know that, his cachet will usually lead to Oscars and, good box office. But, excuse me, when you're in that situation, you're taking a heavy risk on something that, I personally, that money could have been invested into smaller properties, and where once again, slow investment, slow growth. You could have probably done 3 smaller films, you know, with that bread, if not more, and slowly generated some financial growth for your company, and put yourself back in good standing. You're basically risking it all on one film, where you might have been able to, really focus in on 3 smaller films, maybe for about $5 to $6 million. Probably could have done a little bit more. Really well written, excellently crafted films with some up and coming or really good filmmakers, and really reestablished yourself as a production company brand that is focusing in on, storytelling and not high-end garbage that we've been putting out just to get kids in, the theaters and parents in theaters at the same time to get money, which, basically what they did, and they failed miserably for the past few years. Need I remind everybody of the film Pixels? So, that right there, is one of those things where the eyebrow kind of goes up. And I'm an outsider looking in. I can only, give my perspective on things. I'm a little shocked that Netflix or Amazon didn't go harder, didn't go all out to really woo him in. Again, as a long-term investment. I know that Quentin Tarantino made a statement not too long ago about the platforms, being, basically not to his standard, because he doesn't watch those platforms. He's used to, if he saw something. I think this is kind of, don't hold me to this quote, but kind of loosely what he said. He's used to just turning on something on TV and it being on, and he'll watch it. And he'll watch to a certain thing and turn it off, or whatever. Or if he has a movie, he'll put the movie in and he'll watch it. Which, the way I look at it is basically what you could do for any platform. That platform could be, that ideology can be used for Netflix. Or I watched, Daredevil to this scene, then I turned it off. Or I watched, whatever, House of Cards, and then I turned it off on this scene. I just wanted to see that scene. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. But I just think that had they really gone all out and really decided to groom him on their platforms, because I'm not even sure like how well informed he is about their platforms, and I think that Amazon and Netflix, if they really put it together, put a cohesive plan together, could have groomed him and really started getting him prepped to say, hey, look, because this to me goes back to a film that I just watched that I still, Inglourious Bastards, I'm just going to put it out there, it's my least favorite Tarantino film, and I watched it again, and this is like my second time, might have been my third, I don't think it was, I think it was my second time watching the film, and it's the most cartoony popcorn film out of all of his films. To me, it was just, it's whatever, I'm not going to get into that right now, but the reason why I bring that film up is because he stated that Inglourious Bastards, he was thinking about making it into a series, and I think it was Luc Besson who talked him out of it and said, no, you're a filmmaker, put it on the screen, and he should not have listened. You should have made that into a long-form film, put it on TV, and that's what he was going to do. I think he's mentioned like HBO or something. I think this is on a Howard Stern interview. He mentioned that. And that's exactly what he should have done. When he was releasing The Hateful Eight, is, I believe, where I heard it from. And that's exactly what he should have done. And that would have prepped him for television. Because there's all this talk about him leaving and retiring and blah, 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 blah. And, of course, now he's, pitched the whole idea for Star Trek. And that's supposed to be his final film. Because I think he said he's doing 10 and he's out. And I think he's on 9 with this quote-unquote Manson film, Manson era. And then I think Star Trek is supposed to make it 10. And for some reason, I don't think that he's going to count that as his 10th film because he didn't create it and it's not a Quentin Tarantino film. It's a studio film. And I did say before that I personally don't think that he's leaving because when you get that itch, you get that itch. And he has a new lady in his life. She's probably being a serious muse creatively because, the whole Star Trek pitch took me by surprise, especially the way he got jerked around for Bond. And they stole that idea from him, research it. And his statements on doing a comic book film, he said he would never do a comic book film, that he would create something on his own. So, that kind of, this whole thing took me by surprise, that he would be very interested in doing a Star Trek film. But when the creativity hits you and you get that bug, you go for it. So I'm not mad at him at all. I digress and I go back to the Netflix Amazon thing. I think if they had groomed him a little bit better and said, hey, look, we will, you want how many, and they do have the money. It's not like either of those companies don't have the money. They have the money to put his next film into theaters and to spread that, spend that money, especially you don't have to pay for prints, Oh, then again, damn, I'm eating my words. They do have to pay for prints because he's one of those special guys that wants to. He wants prints made 70 millimeter if he's going that way. So it's not like they don't have that money. They do have that money. That's as compared to Sony, who's like really risking it all. That right there is a great investment, and you start to slowly bait him and lure him into, hey. Maybe there's something like The Inglourious Bastards you might want to remake and put on our platform. Do a retelling, maybe. Or if there's, that's a long shot. I'm not going to even say that. Do a retelling. Or if not that, maybe there's something else that you have in mind. Because we know that you've been writing novels or you're going to transition to doing novels. So is there something that long form where you can have the whole novel into a series? You can come and do it with us. Where with the Weinsteins, because I still felt and still feel that breaking up Kill Bill was a money grab. We can get money off of this one, and then we can get money off of that one, because his initial idea was to roll the whole film. It was supposed to be a 4-hour film, or a 6-hour, whatever it is that it breaks down to film. And he wanted the whole thing to play, and they're the ones who, basically sold him on breaking the film. But I will make mention, because now we're on the crime scenes and Tarantino. There's a scene, and I'm going to post this on Instagram with just, a caption of the poster, and I'm just making mention, just want to see what people's feedback is on this. There's a scene where the actress Julia Dreyfus, who I feel he could have done more with, especially after Kill Bill. I thought that, when I first saw her, I was like, this is a very pretty actress, and I'm going to see more of her in Kill Bill 2, and we didn't, and we're going to see more and more screen time. That's what I thought. Especially like how she was tortured. I thought that she was going to have more screen time. It's going to be much more of a deeper character breakdown of her, whatever. Like deep, like on the level of Lucy Liu's character or something like that. Or Vivica Fox's character. But I thought that he was going to do more with her. So I have a weird theory. I'll just give it to you. See if you like it. See what you, whatever. Take it and run with it. There's a scene where he introduces her character. I can't remember the name right now. He introduces Goebbels, and he introduces her character. She's his translator, whatever. And then all of a sudden it cuts to seeing Goebbels banging her. Doggy style, and then it cuts back. And like I said, I've seen this film, I'm going to say 2 times, and I stated again, it's not my favorite, but that right there stuck out to me this time. I'm like, okay, why is that fucking shot even in the film? Because it has nothing to do with this film. I could see if it led into something, you come back to that, and it's the reason why XY happens, because he was spending time with her, and he was supposed to be doing this, whatever. But without that shot, without that scene, that cutaway, the film, the narrative still goes on. So it makes me think, with all the crime scene drama that's going on, I'm loving that term, was that a request of Harvey's? Knowing all the sick garbage that he's been trying to do with actresses, in these films, having them do certain sex scenes, and, oh, no, you're garbage. You wouldn't be this without me. You're going to go in here. Who was that he really, disrespected? Shoot. Skips my brain. She was telling her story. Damn, I wish I could remember. And he was being very, very disrespectful. I think it was for, some sort of a sex scene or something. It's like, no one even remembers you. You're garbage and blah, 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 blah. You're going to go and do this, and you're going to, do this scene and yada, yada, yada. And I think it had revolved around, nudity. But it kind of seems like that might have been, a Harvey Kreinstein thing, where he wanted that scene in, and he, somehow convinced Tarantino to put that shit in, because it has nothing to do with the story, and it does not affect the narrative. So, like I said, I'll put it on IG. I'll explain that. I just want to see what type of feedback I'm going to get. And if you're listening to this and you catch this, maybe I'll put this in its own Tarantino segment. But let me transition back into the whole Netflix, Amazon thing. It would have been a cool move for them to, say, hey, we'll do this for you. We want to groom you, bring you into our house, and see what you think. Okay, great. You had a awesome experience with us, and we want to see you do more things. We know you're talking about retiring, but hey, if you want to come back in a few years and do something long form, no stress, no theatrical run, you can come up here and just do a series. Maybe you and Robert Rodriguez fucking sat around and came up with something that's going to be kick-ass, and fresh and original. You can come and fuck with us, and, we'll do it long form. So I just thought that, based me just being an outsider, that was a ball that definitely got dropped on their side, both companies' side, as far as grooming him. But, and changing his perspective, and even saying, hey, maybe you can bring something new to the platform, So that's my little 2 cents on that.